So my talk is about topological mathematics and deep learning in the computer-aided drug design. I'm Guowei Wei from Michigan State University. Before I go any further, I would like to thank the organizers give us such a wonderful opportunity and a platform to evaluate the different performance, different methods, things like that. And also, I would like to thank the NSF, NIH, and also wonderful collaboration with the Pfizer and Bristol Myers Squibb. So actually a subtitle, alternative title for my talk is the reduce the mass phobicity and also IF obesity in the biology. I mean, the reason I say that there's actually quite a good reason. Last year, I was trying to targeted by people in Huawei. Probably you heard about it. This is a company at the center of the US and China, the trade war. And they target me for like AI chief scientist. I actually just simply declined. And this year, actually, I tried to move my position partially to biology in my university. I was declined. So you can see the biology people think so differently over there. Yeah. So before I go any further, I tried to just review what we did in the past few challenges. We started in the 2016. At that time, we don't know anything about the docking or something like that. So what do we do? We try to say, okay, we don't know how to do docking, and then we just tried to come up with a machine learning method with deep learning and with post and also free energy evaluation. And this is what we got. We didn't certainly get anything for post, but however, we indeed get #1 for the free energy ranking. And you can see actually not only #1, all the things over there are our group's results. This is due to the dark is here. And after that, we get a little bit of better preparation, and for this is exactly the way D3R is put things over there. So we actually prepare a little bit in the second challenge. We attended this is the third challenge. So we did a little bit of preparation, but not really good enough because in the summer we interrupted with some type of other issue over there. So this is what we did in the last time. So in the second attempt, so you can see this is the type of deep learning approach is establish a pattern. It wins in all kinds of different places. However, we still get a lot thing in the post. So this is the part and then we tried to address after we wrote a paper last year, tried to address that problem, and then we come back. So with the last challenge. So this is also told the same way as the D3R, the label, everything over there, put it in the over there. So this is how we did it. So you see, this is a little bit go to crazy because it's like a 1/2. What it means by 1/2? So that means the golden is metal is shared by two different groups. They're based on a different category, right? You can have a mean. And also you can have a medium, something like that. So 1/2 means we just win one of those categories. And similarly, we have like 3/3. That means we got all the solver method for everything over there. And 2/2, that means we are second just behind one submission, everything we got over there. And then 1/2 means we have a bronze for, share with other teams, something like that. We have a very detailed calculation for everything. What you can see is this is the pattern, okay? You can see a deep learning type approach, they win everywhere. And also, actually, we're not both based in terms of the post position, but we also win free energy. Actually, we didn't win anything here in terms of the top 3, but only behind the 2 groups. So one of the group is, he just gave a presentation, he submitted 4 things over there. So the black us out of the top 3, but actually we are just behind 2 groups. So what I try to say is this is the type of a pattern over there. You can see machine learning is really an elephant in the room. Now I tried to say a little bit of post because this is first time for us to did a post. We actually did quite well in terms of post. Actually, the best one is 0.23, and our next one is actually, this is our medium is 0.53, and actually we still have some trouble with some compounds over there. You see this whole thing here is going upside down. That's a major reason for our MSD is getting a little bit bigger over there. So that means this type of approach is not perfect and still can improve. So that's why we spent the whole summer, and then just 1 week ago, I emailed Michael. I said it's going to be a challenge 5 in the September. He said no. I said okay. I wasted the whole of my summer too. A lot of people spend so much time. So anyway, but we learned a lot of lessons and see why we can, how we can improve and improve in a different place. I just wanted to do a little bit more general things because I said it's the second title to reduce the AI phobicity. So AI is something, you know, it's a very general category of things, artificial intelligence. Machine learning is just a part of it, and deep learning go further, just a small part of that. And the deep learning is a long history of this. This is really just a part of computer science going like 1960s, things like that. For a long time, all kinds of different deep learning architecture. So I don't want to go to the too much detail of those things. But you can see this is things deep learning always depends on the data. So deep learning is associated with data. So I run into trouble. Some people criticize our paper, say something, say why something you cannot do well or something like that. I say if you don't have a data, right? Well, the method, why is the method so data dependent? Okay, that's the question they try to criticize. I mean, machine learning, deep learning, they're always data dependent. So some people even write a paper over there just to justify, I mean, how the data similarity could improve performance, well, not as similar, there's low performance. They write and make a bigger fuss over there. I mean, this is the machine learning, basically 101 type of stuff. I mean, people writing papers, a lot of papers in the biophysics community talk about the correlation of the similarity and the machine learning performances. This is just a machine learning 101. I mean, if you don't have a data, how can you have a machine learning? It's not like a physical method. Physical method is just based on their own. They don't need data and they can do it. So machine learning definitely depends on data. And then you can see this is the whole field over there is quite old. And actually this year they got a Turing Award. It's like a Nobel Prize in computer science. So this is the type of things machine learning can do for you. You have got to a little bit recognize. I mean, for example, if you read, you can have this type of different real faces over there, and you can have a face like that. And also you can, this one, you can have a face like that. And as you put it together, everything, and the machine learning going to create a lot of faces. It doesn't really exist, but it looks so like. So machine learning also can do things like advertise in a much different way. I mean, this is the input things, and then they give you different all similar stats over there. So this is the input. Yeah, and the machine learning also is changing a lot of different industry. You see, it's just get one input and they give you all kinds of different output. You don't need so many people to do design over there. This is what is happening. So, and also for shoes, things like that. Users that take a lot of manpower to do design nowadays, not anymore. And this is also, I like this picture because it's a change Sabra into horse or something, they can interchange everything, you see? And change mountain from a different winter to summer, things like that. And also, yeah, I mean, just change your host, input things like that, you see? Give you different type of pictures. And you can so on so forth. Actually, it's an input. This is the input. It gives you different style, one car or other people's style. You can whatever you want. I mean, this is basically what you can do nowadays. This is more like this type of picture as the input and the different style. It's beautiful paintings, things like that coming out. And also from a printing to photo. So you just give a printing over there and the output is almost like a photograph. And then you can go other way around. Yeah. So you can orange and juice, I mean, Apple, they are different category, but they can interchange over there, you see? So they change the trees from one tree to other tree easily. I mean, just in less than 1 second, they change this stuff for you. So you can see the machine learning capability, the power. And for certainly we are getting close to launch and they can get a lot of different pizza. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what is inside machine learning is really, and particularly the most powerful ones nowadays, the so-called neural network. It's all kinds of different design. And this is a lot of the part I try to emphasize. This is the part I try to emphasize. If you really just want to use machine learning, the basic mathematics is very simple. Just calculus, linear algebra, statistics, and probability, no more. I teach this course. I teach both undergraduate and graduate course on machine learning. So, but if you really want to go deeper, and then you need all kinds of different geometry, all kinds of different topology, analysis, algebra, combinatorial graphic theory, all kinds of things, like algebra topology, geometrical algebra, algebraic geometry, differential geometry, it's just all kinds of mathematics is behind the whole thing. So this is the whole thing is really very math intensive if you really want to get into this type of research. And that certainly has a huge impact to all kinds of different fields. But one thing you can notice is all kinds of different stores are closing, right? I mean, all kinds of jobs taken over. Now, I mean, for sure, in 10 to 20 years down the road, they don't need me to teach math anymore. I mean, there will be a robot over there teaching over there. They can do a better job than I do. So only thing I can do is just do a little bit of drug design. That's the only thing option left for me. Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, in the biology, we already mentioned in the morning, I mean, the huge amount of data over there. This is really good. And also we have a lot of PDB data. Also we have a genetic gene bank has more data over there. So this is really, it's a machine learning, they actually based on this type of things. So, and also this is something, although in the biophysics community, there's AI for obesity for a long time over there. I mean, only the whole thing changed a little bit. Also, just the deeper mind and the deeper mind just last December, they just have a dominant win. This is just cross the point of lower 10. Anybody in this field, it's very difficult to beat a machine from now on. It's just in a matter of time, a few years down the road, in the computer-aided drug design is going to be point of lower 10, okay? So I'm not saying you guys don't have a job. I'm saying the people doing synthesis, they don't have a job. Yeah, just in a few years down the road, we don't need so many people to synthesize the chemical synthesize anymore. That's for sure, yeah. I mean, this is this is the field, drug design, you can see there's so much, it's so important in terms of dollars, and you can see this year, basically, the whole world spent something like $180 billion. But compared to the real impact, for example, Alzheimer's disease cost the whole world about $1 trillion just last year for Alzheimer's disease. So the input is still not enough, okay? But you can see this is compared to NSF and NIH budget. So you can see the field is how important this is. And also, it's so difficult. It's not easy. You know, it's actually all 5 years, only 100 new drugs, something like that. It's a lot of very many things come out. So that's highlighted the difficulty. And also, every drug basically costs more than $2.6 billion to get into market, and more than 10 years effort. So those whole things are going to change in a few years down the road. And it's very complicated. A lot of just the post-production and the binding energy. You can see here, so it's all kinds of things over there. So it's a very complicated process. Fortunately, computer can actually have many manual steps over there, except the clinical part. But the clinical part, you can use the computer to do the schedule or things like that. I mean, this is the reason, this is the data for here. This is something some people treat, you know, Smith, it's a Sam Smith's treat. It's just June 6, 2019, there's a 135 startup on the AI-based drug discovery. You can see what is going on, particularly after diploid, the AlphaFold, when in the protein folding position. So, but what is the problem? We have more than 100 startups over there trying to do these things. So what is the challenge? The real challenge is really something so-called mesh. So the geometric dimensionality. So for average protein in the human body is about 5,000 atoms over there. So the dimensionality, if you do those things like molecular mechanics, is R to the 3n. But if you think in terms of use the machine learning method, it's still dimensionality is too high. I just want to try to put a 1,000th mesh along this dimension here, because the 3D, I basically get something like 1,000 to the 3 power of this type of dimensionality for machine learning. Times m. M is different chemicals. You don't treat this particle the same, because the oxygen is so different from nitrogen. So, and also you have a trouble over there for the things are not scalable, because some of the compounds here is huge, some is small. So those create trouble for machine learning. So we wanted to make things scalable. And not to mention about the interaction, everybody in this room enjoyed it. All kinds of hydrophobic, hydrophilic, dipolar, whatever one there was, we put it in those type of language. Machine doesn't care that language, sorry, yeah. So what do we need to do? I mean, with this challenge, we need to reduce the geometry, simplify the geometry, reduce the dimensionality, and make it scale unification. So that's my opinion. So I just tried to say there are two schools of thinking and actually two wonderful, powerful methods to do it. One thing is to say, if you are just given a protein with n atoms, this is typically 5,000. Each atom has a little n electrons. Say this electron, little n is 10. So we are dealing with the density, we are dealing with use different method. What is the dimensionality? If you use the Boson-Boltzmann, PNP, and the PNP, those type of so-called implicit solvent method. So this is the R to the 3, and this is the dimension you get into. But if you really want to have some coarse-grained method, you are going actually higher the dimension. If you go in further to molecular mechanics, you are doing the R to the 3n. If you want to go even further, again, you can QMMM, you are in the between. And then if you go in further, you have a go quantum mechanics way, you are really just R to the 3n times little n plus 3n. That's the dimensionality you are getting into. So this method, the most advantage, actually, this method is mechanistic. It doesn't relate to any data. I can give me anything, so I just go ahead without see what is in the PDB. I can work on it. However, there's a different approach. It says this is a, so for example, if you really look about this solid system, and you're not really interested in everything, you're just interested in the surface of the Earth, this blue stuff. And in mathematics, it's so-called a differentiable manifold. And really, that's such a manifold, it's just a two-dimensional surface. So the hypothesis for different method to work is such that the intrinsic physics lies in the low-dimensional manifold and embedded in the high-dimensional space. And the art, so the cutting edge is try how to extract such a manifold, how to sometimes extract information from there. So algebraic topology, this is something you can do, gets in one-dimensional representation. You can go further, graph theory is just a zero dimension, geometric property index stuff is just a zero dimension. So you can, this is a different ways of going actually down this road. But this method does not work by itself, it's data driven, okay? Over there is mechanics static. So that's the difference. Both methods, you can see all kinds of different examples. They have show you they are working for different things. So drug design and discovery, typically you make a use of biophysics and structured data, sequence data. This is something we are doing And also, a lot of people in this room already use machine learning, deep learning, manifold learning, transfer learning, and the GAN. This is something I'm going to talk about GAN a little bit more later on. So in my lab, we actually have a different dimension over there. We actually use something quite unique, use algebraic topology, differential geometry, graphical theory, multi-scale PDEs, and also Durand-Hodge theory, things like that. I'm going to mention a little bit about this Durand-Hodge theory, a little bit later. So this is something unique to our approach. And then we make these things working better. This is our purpose. I won't go through all different mathematics because there's no such a time for me to do that. I just wanted to mention how the topology working. So this is the topology, is very ancient things over there. It's 100 years old stuff, and started with many years ago. It's like Euler's question over there. Yeah. So you can see topology still make a very big impact in the physics. They get a Nobel Prize 2016 for Nobel Prize for the solid state topology, topological states, things like that. In the biology, not too many people try to use it. But actually, what I try to say, topology is quite simple. You see, this is something I try to convince you. So topology is what is important, the so-called topological invariant. That's something they are talking about. And the zeroth topological invariant is that's the connected components. For me, my Betty zero will be just one, right? If somebody say my Betty zero is 2, I'll be in big trouble. That's cut me into two pieces, right? And the Betty y is just a number of circles. If I do that, my Betty y increase 1, right? So I just produce a circle over there. And the Betty 2 is just the cavity. If I do that, I have a more cavity, increase of cavity, right? So that's what Betty 2 is about. It's very simple stuff. So, and then you can see if we have a circle over there, your Betty 0 is 1, and the Betty 1 is 1, Betty 2 is 0, because there's a low cavity, you have a 1 ring, that's why, and everything is connected, that's why Betty 0 is 1, and you can go further, do a torus, you can see the things over there. So you have 2 circles over there, one is green, other one is blue, so that's why the Betty 1 is 2, and everything is connected, that's why Betty 0 is 1. And inside this whole thing is empty, so that's why the Betty 2 is 1. It's very easy, simple, right? But this whole thing here I show is a continuous subject. That's not really good for protein. For protein, we have discrete atoms. In order to do that, we have to change the topology a little bit, use something so-called simplicial topology or simplicial geometry type of language. And in such a way, you have to identify, say, a point is a 0 simplest, 1 is 1 simplest, a triangle is 2 simplest, so on and so forth. So if I have a set of points, say this is imagine this is a set of atoms down over there, basically needed to just put a ring over there, and then I decide that this everything is overlapped, and then I say I put this 1 simplest, if this 2 sphere, they overlap each other. If this 3 overlap each other, I just put this 2 simplest there. If this overlap each other, I put 3 simplest. This is how I generated this simplest interpretation of original point I have over there. So very simple. And from here, this type of, this is simplest, this is topological space. What I can do is I just wanted to make use of that since, you see, so you make a unity as a group. I mean, people in the chemistry, theoretical chemistry will know group so well. You have elements of a group and you have an operation. So we just put those simplicial complex as an element of a group. It's so-called chain group. And organize it in a particular way, particularly so-called particle is like a Z2, that means modulated to 1 plus 1 is 0. So that's the type of calculation you have. With such a calculation rule, pass those type of simplicial complex, and then we can form a group and things like that. The end of the game is try to get something so-called homology group. Homology group, the ranking of the homological group, that's the dimension of that, is the Betty number. Betty number, go back to the environment. That's what we really do. Certainly, remember, we actually go further because we do a filtration. That means I change the radius. I don't want to go to the theory of these things. This is where a lot of the theoretical stuff, you can go to the papers on either our web page. Our page is a little bit much easier to read than those people's paper, particularly for people with the chemistry and the biology background. But I want to illustrate to you how things, just assume this is a set of points like in a protein. We actually go in the radius filtration, make it bigger. When it getting bigger, my number of connected components is decreasing, you see, and then I form a simplex. And then decrease again because those touch each other, and then I got other things over there, right? And I go further, I got two simplex over there, right? So, and the other one simplex, other two simplex, and then so on and so forth. You can see everything is going to link together, and this whole thing is going to eventually, you can see this side is going to have a ring over there. Oh, it's going to have a ring, right? When it has a ring, have a batty one. Okay, I have a ring. So batty one is come up, show up, and then I have other ring over there, I have other batty one. They keep going until this thing is going to be killed, right? They feel each other, so we don't have a ring anymore, and this thing stop going. See, it's going to stop going very soon. Yeah. Okay, stop. So this one is stop there. It doesn't move anymore. And we still got a little bit things moving there, right? There's a ring. So it's moving. Eventually, we stop here in the so-called radius filtration. So this is what we come up with this protein. We come up with something so-called topological fingerprint. That's like my fingerprint that you can recognize my face. With this one, you can recognize that this is a guy, this is a set of data I initially given. If you think this is a protein, that's another job, to give it a protein fingerprint. So with alpha helix, you can see easily. I just see the alpha helix C alpha atoms over there. You have just look at the 4 C alpha elements. My batty one is going to have 4 lines over there. But the distance between those two is 3.8 angstrom. So that means I stop at 3.8, all of them stop, except the one, because everything is a connected component, just one. And then this 4, actually, at certain points, when I radius increase over there, actually, they have a circle over there. They form a circle for a very short time. Later on, there's no more. And if I go further, just add 1 more atoms over there. I have 5 lines over there and 2 those short circles over there. And so on and so forth. I can have a whole thing. I can go further, have a beta sheet, beta berry, and even for color data, I can do the same thing. So basically, this type of a method becomes systematical, and for you to do all kinds of different characterization. It's one-dimensional characterization. If you have a protein, it's constantly changing, and they give you 2-dimensional characterization. This is batty 0, batty 1, batty 2. So, and then you just see the things over there. And the things are getting simplified when they become linear. And then you can see on a topological fingerprint, there's a topological transition. Yeah, it's going to become a linear now. Okay, so there's a transition. You don't see batty 2 very much anymore. So these things may look a little bit dizzy. It's not something we want to interpret with, but machine like this because it's systematical. Right? So machine learning, they like this type of input. And we also try to do something, input some physics. Essentially, the things I'm talking about is force field free. I don't need any force field, okay? However, I also tried to actually input some physical understanding. For example, I want to put some charge over there and then make my rings have a color. So different color means different amount of charge. And in such a way, I actually produce a colorful barcode, okay? I can go further and, for example, evaluate it with some fancy mathematics, so-called Wasserstein matrix, whatever. And then I also have a different type of, you see, different type of atom, and then I have a different barcode, different color. So that means I embedded physical information into my barcode representation, into topological representation. That's what we try to do. I also promised you I wanted to mention like one slide about the Duran-Hardy theory. And the Duran-Hardy theory is a landmark of mathematics in the last century. So it's way more complicated than things behind the quantum mechanics. But it starts providing the foundation for a lot of physics, like Maxwell's equation, quantum mechanics, solid mechanics, quantum field theory, Young-Mills theory, whatever, so on and so forth. It starts providing a mathematical foundation for all kinds of physicists over there. That's maybe due to I put my hand over there, turned it off. You turn on? Yeah, it's okay. So I put it on this side. I don't interfere with it. Yeah. 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 So yeah, it's a Huawei 5G, right? That's the trouble. That's why I refused the job. Yeah. Okay. So this is a differential form is a set of a differential geometry. Basically, this thing is a combined algebraic topology, differential geometry, and the geometry, spectrum geometry, all kinds of things together is almost a unification in the mathematics. Has a big impact in the mathematics. And we tried to use this type of theory for protein, not only for proteins, but also for correlative data analysis, things like that. I don't have time to show the detail, but if you want to go load the details, you can see my, in the archive, I have a paper over there. And we will certainly integrate these things with all kinds of different network, Particularly, I wanted to emphasize that there are something like a multitask learning. These things are really powerful. We use it for all kinds of different purposes. Not to mention about convolutional learning, things like that. All kinds of different learning network include the things here. Also, is a combination of deep learning with gradient boost decision tree, things like that, because different networks have different property. And then certainly we use this type of things for different data set out there. I mean, as Xiaoqun did, I mean, because this is a standard data set, everybody tested it, and they always found that their method is the best. This law also applies to our method. So we did for what is Ligging and decoy, those type of data classification problem over there, we are #1. And certainly everything I show is we are #1 because this the data is a lot like a D3R, right? This is the open data over there. Everybody, if you go later, you look at the data, you always can make your method #1. So this is a little surprising, right? So, and the binding affinity, we are #1, no problem. So mutation analysis, we are #1. And the mutation for membrane protein, we are #1, no problem. Yeah. And this is our recent paper. The referees also guys will do a lot of extra work. We show to them. We're also #1 in all kinds of like a screening power, ranking power, backing power, things like that. We also shows actually the scoring moment ago. This is the screening power #1 and a different type of screening. We are #1 over there. So you can go there, look into detail if you're interested. I just wanted to say this is a lot of topology where you actually use algebraic graphic theory. So it's called algebraic graphic learning. So because I mentioned so many different methods, this is also a very powerful method. Algebraic graphic method works extremely well. And we also use this method for D3R Grand Challenge 4. And this is a little bit of challenge Pfizer gave to us. I mean, they gave us the data without telling us what is the results. We did, because we work with Pfizer, they give us a lot of challenges like this. So that's why I feel I spent a lot of time this year for preparation, and now there's no D3R grand challenge anymore. So Pfizer gave us a lot of data challenge. They don't tell us what's the results over there. And we have a very nice collaboration. So it's fully blind, and then we can evaluate our method and our machine learning method, all kinds of different machine learning that works better compared to autodidact learning software and also Glide. You see, we are doing much better than those stuff. This is the enrichment curve. You can see that the stuff we are doing, our enrichment actually is certainly is better compared to the glide. Glide is better than the auto dark window, just like the earlier talk I mentioned about. This is consistent with that. But the losing with that is as good as what we do use the machine learning. This is also fully blind. The Pfizer didn't tell us what is going on before they finally give us the answer key or something like that. Yeah. So this is probably good. It's good hint to you guys. If you want to particularly like the competition, you get to work with a pharma company, and they have a huge amount of data over there. They give you a challenge, so you get some access over there, right? So I just wanted to mention a little bit how we did the post. This part. So this is D3R. So D3R, as you know, is asked for post prediction and a given sequence. We actually go from sequence to post. So that's what we do. And the free energy prediction. What we do is we use something so-called GAN. GAN is a generative advisory network. I don't know if you can see it clearly. This is how it works. And we use that to generate a post, and then we further use a deeper network to predict the energy. So we are working on something so-called mathematical network complex. Yeah, I'm basically done. Oh, okay. Yeah. So mathematical network complex. So we have a multiple complex over there. So this is an example showing. So actually mentioned by Thomas in the morning. I mean, we autoencoder, auto-decoder. This should be the language in the biophysics community pretty soon. We use all kinds of autoencoder, auto-decoder, and also something in the between. So it's latent space. So you have a smash strings over there. You go to the two-dimensional smash string autoencoder and give you the low-dimensional representation. And then from low-dimensional representation, you should be able to go auto-decoder and such that you get back a smash string. If you are doing extremely well, you could get something more than 95%, 96%, right? In terms of faithful recover what you input over there. So this is a technical. And this things for surely they are trained with the millions of compounds. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And these things here, just want to mention what is here. Those are the things so-called long short-term memory. Also, Thomas mentioned in the morning. So network. So that network is multiple network by itself. And if you want 3D, what do? You're going to go ahead. I mean, this is a 3D, three-dimensional autoencoder, and it goes to 2D, and then from 2D you go to the latent space, and then from there you go back. This is a reversible, like a quantum mechanics, time-dependent phenomenon over there, right? So this is reversible, okay? If your method is perfect. So this is how we do the training, things like that. You can see you get a lot of proteins and complex things like that. And then you actually come out with things perturbation in the latent space. So this space is very easy to do perturbation. It's low dimensional space. And then it generates something different from there. And then ask something, this is the generator after something so-called discriminator. Discriminator, what it does is going to tell you in this latent space to make a classification. Say the things come out from here. If it's one of those, or similar to those. If it's not similar, or its quality is not good enough, you will say low. When you say low, it's feedback. So it feedback by grading, something like that. Feedback yellow. I put a yellow pass. That means from yellow to yellow. And over there, what did they do? They go back with a different perturbation, and then they create a new structure again and come back again. So they come back again like that one. And then they give an answer. If it's yes, and then they say, okay, we go to a different path, and from there we generate a structure. So at this point, we can basically create like 1 million new compounds, not the old one, every day. We actually did this with, just recently did this with CADD with theta over there. We produced like a few millions of new compounds people never seen before, all about the binding compounds. And about more than 1 million of those things are the active one. So that means the active catalyst new compounds generated from this procedure. And we also did a bit of base. We had an introduction yesterday. The base is a little bit more difficult. We're only able to generate something like a quarter million of new compounds, active ones. We can generate like millions of new base binding binders, but they are not really so active. That means active means their energy is bigger than 7 or something. It's about 9.5 kilocalorie per mole, something like that. And we regard it as selective. So this is the things we do at this point. And we basically not just do such a simple structure I showed you a moment ago. That's just a conceptual picture. What we really do is we actually have a algebraic geometry, graphical theory, differential algebra topology, all kinds of things over there, and simplify the different process. And also we incorporate all kinds of constraints, like a binding affinity, just one thing, solubility, permeability, toxicity, synthesizability, clearance, and partition coefficients. We put all of those things as a matrix to determine if a new compound come out is the good one or not. Otherwise, just keep going internal circle. Remember, we can generate like 1 million compounds every day. So this is going so fast. When I talk to you, I already generated like 500,000 or something like that. Just a little awkward. So, I mean, this whole thing haven't been utilized at this point. Okay, this is a totally new dimension. And certainly, we're also very much interested in the mathematics because basically most people in my group, they are mathematicians. So we look at different GAN variants like Wasserstein GAN and the conditional GAN, Area 2 GAN, relax, fish, Banach, and Gromo, Hostov. I mean, all kinds of stuff getting really, really present-day mathematical research. It's deeply rooted into the current mathematical research in terms of mathematics and computer science. And we use those things for the drug design. This is what is going on. Oh, finally, I wanted to acknowledge the people they did the work. I already showed many pictures along the way, but actually this program is developed for many, many years. And I have a lot of wonderful collaborators, for example, Lathan Baker, and also recently worked with Dixon, Alex Dixon, and other biologists, a lot of biologists. Actually, I put a color over there. So anything in blue, that means biologist. Anything in this green, that means they are mathematician. Anything in red, that means computer science. So I work with all kinds of different people. The people, they stayed in my group. They also colored in different way. Most of them are mathematicians, but I do have a lot of people from the biology domain. They work with me before. It's my team over there. Finally, thank you for your time. Yeah.
Hi, thanks. So in the last slide, you mentioned about this generative model trained with like all lot of like metrics, right? Have you actually trained with the binding affinity? Because, for example, if you try to use docking square to generate new molecules, it can be kind of dangerous, right? Because the best docking square doesn't always mean that it is good. And actually, there's a paper from Shoike's group showing that there's like particular binding score range that is correlated very well with the experiments rather than the top docking scores. So have you actually done it before?
Yeah, I mean, the binding affinity is our top choice. Certainly, we will try to say if the compounds is used for first thing is look at the binding affinity. And also those binding affinity we trained with the PDB bind, things like that. And with some type of enhanced training with some other subsets, things like that. So that's what we do. So it's related to something so-called I mentioned before is some transfer learning type of technique.
Come up here. I'll meet you halfway.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for your talk. It was awesome. So I have a question about the constraints that you implemented. My concern is that the publicly available toxicity data in comparison to what we have for binding affinity is very limited. If I go into Chembl and I look for stuff like LD50s, I think there's an EPA data set with like 10,000 data points versus what I can find in Chembl, which is 500,000. So the domains of applicability are like vastly different. So if you just throw them together and then make predictions on 1 million new compounds coming out from a GAN, totally new areas of chemical space that these models have never seen before, I am very skeptical that the models are actually applicable there. So what are you doing to constrain your constraints, essentially? Also, are you going to put this stuff on GitHub? I'd love to take a look.
Thank you for the question. I mean, so the answer for that question is basically we actually need to work with the people in the experiment. We're never going to get rid of them, right? So that's why I really, at this point, I really want to work with people. They have data. So that's how to solve that problem. But I just want to outline things here is just a strategy. Well, yeah.
What about GitHub?
This is not available at this point. You know, it's related to the property, intellectual property related to things like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't really published it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just, can we do one more question? Yeah, we'll do one more question.
So very impressive talk and results. I have a question regarding the math GAN. So when you use it to generate a different, for the ligand generate different conformations, I guess. So I missed it. So do you generate the conformations in the presence of protein or in the absence of protein? And also how many conformations do you generate for each ligand? Or are they chemically sound? So.
I mean, that's a very good question. So we basically generate things, first generate in the something like 2D, and then if they are really good, and then we go to 3D. So 2D to 3D also very faster because our whole thing is automatic, right? We actually can go from 2D in 3D very quickly, just like that. Yeah, so yeah, so it's no problem. But we don't do that until we look at a lot of metrics over there, like we use a 2D evaluation, see how things are good. If they are very promising, and then we go to 3D. Otherwise, we don't go. Yeah.
Okay, let's thank Gue again for a great talk.